Have we thought the start would begin with 3 eyes, 2 mouths, me and the dragon in the back? You ever think of the alphabet? I mean, just if you took the letter, like, let's just take all the vowels. Did you know all the vowels add up to 51? I can't wear this? Why? Because I don't have my sunglasses on. My friends, we have 5 days left to the preparation of the 31st of the month. 3 and 1 that ends the month actually is 13. The reason for that is 31. 3 plus 1 is 4. The M is the 13th letter. 1 plus 3 is 4. It means the same thing, the love of one angel spirit. Now you know what the A is. The angel spirit, the angle, is the number 1. In pool, they change it around, and they change the game, showing you the 1 is yellow. The protein, the octane of the world. October. October birth, October man. But what is 1/4 in the alphabet of 26 letters? Well, first of all, the letters double over on each other. So there's no more 26. There's sort of 9. And then you got the 0. So that's a whole other ball game. You really know what the 0 is? Anybody ever see? All it is one of the rings moves onto the inside, leaving out a little tail. And now you got a 6 or a 9, a P or a B. So now you got the tattle of the tail. So why am I dressed this way? Does it make a difference? When they come and knock on my door, hopefully it never happens, this is what I want to be wearing. I want to play the part. If they want to put me away for something, put me away for dressing up in my own house. I'm Mr. Dress Up. Hello, everybody. Well, they didn't put him away. Well, if I call myself Mr. Dress Up, maybe then I can stay out here forever. And as everything changes, I can keep dressing differently. Yeah, this is pretty old. You know why? Because when you get rid of this, you've gotten rid of all the love you've ever had in your life. When you have a love from the beginning of your life, save that love to remind you of true love. Someone liking an animal, falling out of love with somebody, everybody seems to hold on to a picture. Don't hold on to the picture. That's a second love. The first love is who you see when you look in the mirror. Do you see me? You're in trouble. You have to see you. You're the love. Without understanding what satisfies your own mind. And remember, before you can fall in love, before you get the God's understanding of what the love is, your birth is one spirit of love from God. Understanding how and why you've gotten that for him, you'll be able to give it on to others, and you will never lose the concept of true love, the communication, the trust, the transfer from east to west, the two sides of the minds that don't see alike, that have to be different because they have to understand everybody else that goes in front of us. But there's not enough of us that are doing this. Do you know why I'm wearing this? Because this is what I feel like. I feel centered right now. I feel really centered. And centered under this little hat, my friends, oh, I'm so warm. I don't need anything right now. What's that? In the back. Yeah, you in the back, lifting your hand. What do you want to say to me? Yeah, you're right. I always need a doctor. I want a doctor. Is there a doctor in the house? You know why I want a doctor? I want to study everything I do, so we can find the concept in the interior of man for one who has an open mind. Do I see something's wrong in Syria? I don't understand the whole battle. I know everybody deserves freedom, but the Syrians know if you let anybody in from the west coast or whichever coast you want to plant on it, it's no good. Did you hear what Obama said and that other guy? If you use any chemical weapons, oh, come on, Obama, you're spraying the field. You know what it was like? It was a big storm here in Quebec, right? And they were flying jet planes spraying stuff the night of the storm. And then all day today they've been in the sky spraying. And it's so simple to see, and most of it, they fly so high. I don't care what anybody else sees, I've seen it. They fly so high. But there's different kinds, of course, and I don't know everything. In fact, it doesn't mean I don't know anything at all, but I don't know the everything that I don't know. So that means I would know nothing of it. of it. IT, birth. The new concept that something comes in is an IT, number 29. It also stands for black, number 29. And you know, one of the things about black and white is that black is a letter count of 29 and white is 65. They both count up to 11. Not only that, B and L in black, B is the second letter, L is the 12th letter, 1 and 2 is 3. So B right away says 2, 3. When you go to white, the W is the 23rd letter. Right away you got 2, 3, 2, 3 with white and with black. Well, how does it work? The energy cell of the white and the Holy Ghost who enters in to create who you are, building the energy of the system, and then comes hard like a rock. He's a hard head. He's a cockhead. He's a hard head. He sits up where he becomes the pearl in your brain. Where do you think the sperm goes at the end once you're born? Does he stick in your tail? Absolutely not. He was a builder of you all through the time he was in your mother. I think he goes up to the brain and he reestablishes himself right in the pineal gland of the brain, the sperm. And he sits up there, you know why? Because the roof is good. He knows the roof is good because the egg that he created within the sperm that was inside the woman, okay, that's been the roof, and he's been building that roof. So he knows how tough it is, and he knows where to go. You know what? When that sperm goes towards the pineal gland, okay, he's not a crybaby about it. He's at the top. He's not a crab at all. So that's where he sits. And he's pearly white, just like our teeth, the elephant's ivory, the ivory stone, the ivory soap. But anyways, I'm getting off center with my little hat. And of course I'm lost between black and white. But the difference between black and white is H is a heaven. Heaven is a goddamn empty space, just like a rabbit's hole. They're both the same thing. They lead down to something. It's an empty space, and when it ends, it's a dead end. They're calling you out. From down you came, you didn't say a word, you crabbed for a couple of years, you titted off your mother's tit that I couldn't get, drinking all that harmonious milk that goes within the body when there's a flow of love and communication within the itinerary of a group, mother, father, and child. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I'm just talking. How we've got to understand that, of course, the sperm wants to have more sex. That's why he finished off, turned into this really nice little pearl up there. But he's got a couple of more in other places anyways. Hit it. Where am I going next? We were at black and white. White, the H is second. It totals 31, okay, which says God is the Holy Ghost in this scenario. But you have to understand, okay, that how do you bring the Holy Ghost in? Who makes the delivery? Well, it's the ER and the AR, the angel resident of the electronic residential world we are in. If you really want to know how to look at them internally of how it works inside of us, they call them the Universal Soldier Angels, USA, Universal Soldier Angels. Since they have it in the USA, then they have it internally in us. Every part of the globe, every ocean, every stream, every bird that ever flew is a combination of who you are. The waterfall comes down, otherwise it'd be a water up. But the water does go up when it's pumped up. In your car, you pump it from the radiator. But in your body, your water gets pumped in many ways as we boil over in deceit of people that have taken advantage over the goods and liberty only because they could not induce liberty without taking it away. Talking about Syria. We'll get back to black and white in a minute. And you can't go in there from across the globe. It's not fair. There's not liberty there because there's nobody bringing the liberty there. They're bringing the arms. Nobody's sitting down. Obviously, if you were sitting down with a full plan of liberty, oh my God, you don't think that the Syrians would take it? What is this bullcrap that's going on? Hasn't anybody sat down? Who are they fighting against? First of all, when you have a piece of land, the government is only part of the people. So if the people are at war with the government is actually what? Why would so many people want to be against the government? Fuck. They're not letting them grow pot in Syria? Adam and Eve, all the native Indians smoke pot. It's all a gimmick, man. Don't forget, when you hit Oriental on the 6 of the dice, it's actually the spirit of 76 is Oriental. Because they say go is actually space 1, where Oriental would be number 7. 2 away from the track. 1 too many away. You can always stretch out one arm. They must overlap these arms in order to make the transition of the 2 sides. You like my wheel? 2, 5 is 7. 4, 3 is 7. 1, 6 is 7. This is the way they look in the dice. I just made it bigger. But this is the exact thing you would see. Hold on a second. You've disappeared from my range. This is the same thing as what I just showed you with this wheel. I just made it bigger. This world, you see, you don't need a big corner because you're going in to the corner. So you don't need the expanded space. Your expanded space is coming from the building from where you start and over to the right and over to the left, and then you would be in between again. So you build to the right, and then all you have next to you is, let's say, 258 on the telephone, and that's as far as you can go, and now 258 has to attach to 369. Because you only have one spirit arm. One spirit arm goes on this angle. If you ever look on paint and bring in the screen real close, whatever's on an angle will have a checkerboard effect. Whatever is straight will have no jagged lines. Everything that's checkerboard is a gate. It's a transition. It's a movement from one side to the other side on every single dice you look at. Do you know what I thought about the dice? If you add up all the numbers on the dice, okay, it equals to 21. If you add up all the possible positions on a cube of a dice, it's 45 per side. 45 is 270. 270 divided by 2 arms of the clock, on let's say 4:30 and 7:30, 135 degrees, 135 degrees, 270, 39 weeks. Then the birth, which means 3 days, because at the beginning, at the end, the extra day before you go into bed, and the day you lie on the table to bring the child out, and the 1 day after that to know that you're actually pregnant is the 273 days. 39 weeks, which represents number 10. You are 9, you have 1 spirit stick. You are 10, you come to life, and that's when the sperm finishes doing the rest of its work inside your head. I don't think we're not fully developed, and that sperm is in your head developing the rest of your mind. Like, it's not the egg. I mean, the egg's right here. Hey, man, you got some hair on your egg. Yeah, it's warm under the tarp. Let's go back to black and white. So I'm going to take out a pen, and black, you had 2, 9, 1, 3, 8. And what you have to know is black is C and K. C, K both have the same sound. Okay? Cut. If you put just a K, it'll say black, and if you put just a C, it'll say black. But with a C, you can also read it in French. B-L-A, change it to an N, C. And then I can start playing with the letters by chopping the top off over here, or just misrepresenting the B-L-A-C-K. You misrepresent the K, it looks like an H. If you remove the part of the H, it becomes the L. But we're not getting into that. 8 is the heaven. Black only has the angel. Okay, it has the king. Okay, the K or the C, the CK creation. Okay, or the KK creation is when you play checkers. Okay, have you ever seen when you get kinged, they put another king on top of you? This is the double I world, or the I and the I world, the I and I world, because if you look at your cards, 3 of the cards only have 1 I. Not only that, okay, the CK okay, which is 3 and 11, okay, which would make 14. Together it says the passage. We're not going to look at that, okay. The K is 11. 1 and 1 is 2. You have 3 and 2. 3 and 2 is W backwards. So CK from black with the end, the two letters create the W of white. And the same thing for the L over here. So we're going to get back to the CK over here, in which is, if you take a look at CLV, it's C love, if you really want to read it. C love. Why do I say it that way? Well, look at it this way. CLV. Okay, 3 and 13 is 16, and V is 22 is 38, and that was the 38 that I got over here. But I used 3 letters to get to this one, and in this one I only used 2 letters. The third letter C, and I made a mistake and put the 8, so there's a mistake in there, so we're going to eliminate that. There was something else I wanted to see that I didn't see, and I started thinking of. There's just a lot of things. White, night, light, sight, you know. Black, jack, hack, mac, smack, pack, lack, track. Do you understand? You see, there's not much in white. There's not much. Light, bright, white, big deal. Then it changes to night, which is dark, but there's so much more in dark and in some color than in anything else. White, you throw a color on it, it becomes a color. It's no longer white. But if you throw a color on black, everybody says it's still black and it's dirty. Anyways, unless it was a paint. But white is bland. You go to eat your eggs, the yellow is tasty, and the white is, well, you know, it looks good. Just about. Not much more than that. What else can I bring into this after 17 minutes? We looked at the wheel. I showed you this design, the diamond design of this. I should have maybe cut off this corner. I wasn't sure what to do, but I left the diamond design like this, 2 by 3. Okay, I wasn't sure. There's many ways to do it. But anyways, these are the properties, so I wasn't into making the properties, unless what I did is went one up over here and made it longer this way and down. If you take a look, this is a Y shape. I did not put the middle of the road in here yet, but these are Ys. Why? Because it can come from here and go down to here, to go from 2 to 1. This one is not going from 2 to 1 because it's going straight across, and that's what creates your Y effect in here. The same thing that creates the letter B because of this opening, okay, is because what happens is this corner gets clipped over here, starting off your letter B. It does not make the whole corner. I show you the whole corner, but all my designs are broken up and pieced together or run in 3D. You see the in-between of what's below in some of them, and other ones you just don't see that arm of the clock. There's a lot of other things to remember, that in roulette, okay, at the numbers, they're all lying down. In the slant of creation, or the razor blade slant or slice, okay, it shows that it's tilted back so the B cannot extend as far as the bottom B. One of the two differences. Not at the same time, if you want to look, is that on each level that you go down, okay, this design opens up 1 to 2, or when you do the bubble design, what happens, if you ever see on your telephone 7 and 9 have an extra letter more than anything else, 4 letters each, it's because we jump over 8 2 of the times. Why do we jump over 8 2 of the times? Well, first of all, 8 is there in representation anyways of itself, because of the one rabbit hole in this world. Hey, look, you got rabbit ears! Of course! You came out from your mother's tunnel. Her water broke. Hey, dear, how's it going? It's going not bad. She says, I'm going to work today. I got a pot underneath. I think something bursted inside of me, and there's a bubble, and she's leaking. But wait a second. I got this pressure All of a sudden, it doesn't want to keep it inside anymore, and it wants me to make it come out. What is it? What is it? Oh, my God. I better go to the doctor and see what it is. And you go in there and you say, hey, ma'am, you're going to have a landslide. You got 2 kids coming out. You go, what? I already got 6 billy goats on my farm, and I have too many lamb and sheep, and I got 6 horses, don't have enough time to fill it anymore, and can't find a husband to do anything. Well, how'd you get pregnant? Damn horse was running so quick, just fell underneath with the saddle, and he was plugging me all the way. That was the best one I ever had. He said, I had to have a horse to take care of me, as that's the one I had. I couldn't believe it. I was on that saddle 1 minute, and the saddle went right underneath the horse. I wasn't sure what to hold on to, and I saw this big, long, black thing sticking out about 3 or 4 feet long. I said, if I hold on tight, and all of a sudden the horse went over a bump, and that thing went right inside me. I says, oh, boy, a bar. They fit a bar on this. Put a bar right inside of you. So I held on to that and let it go. I was feeling real good. This is the best ride of my horse I ever had. You know what I said? That turned around my whole life. Now I got 2 what? What's coming out? I mean, that's the old Greek joke, is it not? Because that's how that little guy was born. You know, the guy was born with a body from the Greeks, and he had a horse leg. Well, that's how it happened. His mother flipped underneath the horse, and she got plugged. Man, I never saw a horse run like that before. Whoa, baby. Hey, they seem to say, whoa, baby, to all the horses. It's pretty funny. Whoa, baby. Descendants of horses? Whoa, baby. You know what? If I was a woman, I'd say, well, it's not so bad. I'd like to give it a try and get stuck underneath something one day. But you know what? Got my hat on. Staying away from all those horse tricks. Stop horsing around. Where am I next with this? The quarter moon. The Mayans, 25 is 1/4, right? Isn't that what it is? 1/4 equals 0.25? You're even including God in this. You didn't say it was 1. It was 0.25. Because if it was 1, it was God. If it was 3, it was God's creation. Now the question is, I've been telling everybody for months and years now, God's creation, what in the world is God's creation? Well, don't you know? He goes out into the world, he goes, he sees, he says, he says, I see a stork. I bet you she's got some eggs. God runs over to the next machine, the machine with the horse, except he becomes the horse. Mary flips underneath God and plugs God up, and then he starts having babies. That's what happened. God became the horse. So we're part of the horse's mouth, right? 1/4 of all. What else is 1/4? What can we say was 1/4? 8 is 1/4 of 32, and that's the passage, and the 8 is the heaven. 3 and 2 is 5, and 8. Wow, 85, that's silver matrix, my friends. That's what they did up there. I don't know what they did up there, but I'm telling you, it's still going. Now they rowelled them up in Colorado. They still got that 85 speed limit up there. Highway 25 and 27 divide on Highway 40 through Amarillo, where they ran down into Roswell and had a couple of aliens come out. Real or not real, who cares? They kept it a secret. They didn't share. It's not fair. If you can't care if you don't share. Maybe if somebody else knows you, I'll watch out, and we have to beware for the boogeyman. But there ain't no boogeyman in the closet. When I was a little kid, there was no boogeyman in the closet as I grew up. Now that I know there was no boogeyman in the closet when I was young, I know there's no boogeyman in the closet now that I'm going to be 50 years old. Okay? You can't pull that trick. What, you make it scarier as we grow up? But didn't you forget the effect of the evolutionary growth of where we learn more as we grow? And by the time we reach a certain age, we should understand the way that we have to revision our views, redefine the definition, extend and expand and create new dictionaries instead of just having Webster sitting in the closet all the time and taking the old dictionary on old stuff. Because if the stuff doesn't change, they're not doing their job. Everything changes. Everything has an added-on definition in a certain extent. Like I said, 39 is a definite concrete of an objectal arrival inside of a situation, saying first, last, stop, best, all the rest. It's a test. The streets, ST, street, ST, street. It's a four-way with 8 directions. How do you comply? Anyways, what we're going to go to next is I'm just going to show off the corners in Monopoly. This corner would be 0, 1, and 40 on the dice. This one would be 0, 1, and 10 on the dice. This one will be 20 and on the dice and 0, 1 position. This one will be the 0, 1 position and 30 on the dice. But this one totals 31. 3 and 1, love and creation. If you take a look at the V here, this is the O for the corner. If you take a look at the line, it creates the U, and at the same time it creates the M. Remove this line here. I added this line on the secondary effect. Okay, a corner creates the letter W. I'm going to draw it for you because I see you all asking for me to draw it. So there you go. That's a corner, what it looks like. It's a W. 2 squares, 2 squares, 2 squares. And there'll be 1 here, and 1 here, and 1 here. When you're here, you're across from here, but you came from here, and you're going to here. 23 and 23, 46. The man of 8, okay? Don't forget what these train tracks about here, because if any of these are chance or not chance, it means you ain't coming back here. Don't forget there's a red chance, a pink chance, and a blue chance. And if it runs into where there's a railroad station, that station only goes one way. And in fact, it seems like they just keep going around and around. Man just keeps getting off and getting on and getting off and getting on. Almost like going on a cruise and visiting the islands. Monopoly says, put a time limit. Try not to make it more than an hour and a half, 90 minutes, the L angle, the position of Bert sitting up in a seat like in a high chair or wheelchair. The Y that is in between is also going to be connected by X's, because look, when the first M comes to its corner, the crossover between the first property creates your first X, 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 X. The X in itself, as a Roman numeral, is 40, or the X is the 24th letter, would say 48, and 48 on your telephone would be 478, would be the 7 corner, which would be this corner over here. Well, you know what? Monopoly is supposed to be played like this, and Go should be over here. Well, maybe it's the same thing. But anyways, what would you think if that sperm was in your head, okay, and there was all kinds of wiring? What kind of fish shows all kinds of like little filaments in it? Wouldn't you say it would be like that what do you call it again? The scallop. And attached to the scallop is a shrimp. But you ever see the shrimp? He's all hung over. He says, hey man, my head's all hung over. How does a shrimp live all his life? But he's like, he's all bent over. Why is he bent like that? Because he's a hook. He hooks onto the scallop, where the sperm is sitting there and doing this. Hey man, let's go this way, man. Hey buddy down there, hey, you want to smoke up another joint there? You think if I stay in your body for my entire life, you can't smoke a couple of joints with me? Hey, light one up. And the sperm and the man, and even if you're a girl, it's the same thing. It's the sperm, right? But you want to hear something funny? She's female. That's right. That's right. Man's artillery is only set up for the one-shot eye, the one-eye shot. The brains, when they all hooked up together, they're females and males anyways. But since I've started this, the club is a female, and the heart is actually a female also. I think there's only one male in the world. Wouldn't that be odd? I mean, I know all the joints and the plugins have to be male and female to go over each other, but every time there's actually a transfer, it would be better to put female larger and stick the dicks in between them. Like the males would be connecting in the females. The female's got to be the brain because she can be turned on and off by the valve. Anyways, I'm getting off the subject. And one thing I wanted to tell you about number 24 is here's the angle of your phone of 2 and 4. 1 equals 2 and 4. It means 1 can be either 2 and 1 can be 4. So whoever's drawing the energy from 1 can also at the same time be drawing from 4 as well as 2. 2 and 4 draw together because it's a connected world, 2 and 4. So there would be a line that goes from here to here. And then it would start to make one of your king's caps. And it would make the, you ever see an egg when you break it? It's got the jaggedy line. Take a look at the cards. They got eggs on their cuffs. God didn't fool around. He's having a great time with this. So a couple of us die. Hold on a second. Let me see. Who actually kills more people in this world? The drugs or the prisoners? Not said very well. Is it those who sell the drugs or those who hold the prisoners? My camera disappeared and I forget what I was going to say. Well, let me tell you who does. Okay. God kills more people than anybody else. And what is one of the reasons? One of the reasons is we come here into this world automatic, everybody's a 10. Automatic, we're all 10, we're alive, got a brain, we're all 10s. Okay, you got that right now? We're all 10s. The 10 that we are all the rules and regulations of the truth and understanding of how to. But because man burnt that years ago, more than once, and even when Adam and Eve, God said, I'm bringing in the death penalty. And since then, God has killed more people than anybody else because we don't follow the rules. So whose fault is it? God's or ours? Don't forget, we work as a group. I'm one of them. I have to die too, just like you, just because of what happened before. Only time when we bring the truth of love, okay, and the prosperity of the understanding of, let me say it as this, as the church, but not the church as you see it, but the church chicken, okay? The one who's hung his cock up there all his life for us, yet we never understood why he sits atop the church with the half moon. The half moon is a sliver, it's a silver, it's 85, it's the matrix, it's the electronics. The sliver is the 1/4 of who man is, 2 and 5, the elevator up and down, and the crisscross of 1, 6, and 3, 4. So until that day when we fulfill and it comes to an end, because don't forget, no matter what, when God writes that book is moving forward to the end. Even if we're not ready and we're caught off guard, that's the way it's going to end. Because at the end, we're going to stand up. We're going to come together in unity. We're going to fight. We are going to win. No matter what happens, we are still going to win. This thing that they say about May 21st, 2012, I don't see happening until February of 2013. Okay, it's got to be cold out there. It can't be moist. It's got to be cold in the Arctic before this happens, before the swing. Maybe the icebergs will break more. I don't know, but that's the revelation I had. So what you have to understand is that when this comes, the new conscience world comes, and we all start to learn the rule of love. And the reason for the rule of love is because they both have a 54 count, which at the same time mean 9 and 9, or I and I, R and R. The railroads, they travel together, going only one way, 2 ways. High and low blood pressure. Where am I at now? So then at this point, God will take upon the death penalty. He will show to man that he will abolish the death penalty until man chooses again to die on his own. Raphael 72:86.